Okay, it's time for our first jumbo quiz, beginning from Daf Beis and Shabbos till today's Daf Chav Gimel. I'll throw out some topics, and we'll see if we can locate by Daf where we'd find them. Okay, here goes. Where do we have the sugya of Carmelis, the dispute of what the Carmelis is? And we talked about nooks by Tzidi Rishus Rabim, or pillars and benches. Where was that? Right, so we had that. That was the shootout, right, over what the din of a Carmelis was. So the shootout is the weapons. That's Daf Zayin. Good. All right, where do we have the sugya of the tailor with the pin, carrying it, in this professional way, whether he'd be chayiv in terms of Hotzah and Shabbos? Where was that? Right, so we imagine that tailor stepping out in that very tall house that's beyond the height of a Beis Knesses and reaching up to the stars. So the stars is like the 11 stars of Yosef's dream, so that's on Daf Yud Aleph. Good. All right, where do we have the sugya of a person throwing something up and having another person catch it, and then the question about if he throws it up and he runs to catch it himself, whether that hanach is connected to that akira or not? Where was that? Right, so we were in that barn full of hay. Hay is daf hay. It was a barn that was roofed, and you had that person, two people throwing things back and forth. So that was on daf hay. Great job. Okay, where do we have which daf dealt with or introduced the Mishnah of what happened in the Aliyah of Hanani ben Chizkiah ben Garon, and the fact that he was trying to matarz this stiras, the contradictions between Sefer Chezkel and what we know in the Torah. So where was that? That was on daf. Right, we imagine those bar mitzvah kids, they were learning by the light of the lamp, the Rebbe's over them, the kid was sitting at the Zav table, typically reserved for Zavs, and then he went on that tour to the Aliyah ben Hanani ben Chizkiah ben Garon, where he saw the open Sefer Chezkel. So bar mitzvah kids is Daf Yud Gimel. Terrific. Okay, where do we have the question of a basket? If someone throws a basket like a beehive type basket that's got the dimensions that it would be its own reshus, if you throw that into Reshus Rabim, that you might not be chayav because it itself is a reshus. So that you're throwing into Reshus Rabim. What was that of the Inyan of Kaveras? So we said that was, remember, we had a menorah that looked like a Kaveras, and he was pointing out the 9-pit guma. So that is on Daf menorah. That's Daf Ches, the eighth blot. There you go, Daf Ches, folio 8. Okay, where do we have the sugya of where we're going through the different Yud Ches enactments, the 18 enactments, and we learned that there's a tumah by Ocho, that's a Rishon, a Sheni, a Shlishi, liquids that are Tameh, hands are Tameh, a Sefer transmits tumah. Where do we learn all that? So that begins on, really began at the end of Daf Yud Gimel, but we said Daf Yud Dal because there was a juggler juggling all those things up in the air, right, while he was standing in a shower of Maim Shovim coming down on him. So that's Daf Yud Dal primarily. Good. All right, where do we have the sugya of, where do we have the topic where we learn that if you give a gift to someone, you should inform them that you're giving them a gift? Like Shabbos was told to us, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu to tell us he was giving the gift of Shabbos. Where was that? So that was on Daf. Right? We imagined, if you remember, the UPS truck delivering a gift to people sitting out there outside their tents who are having an early meal. So that's tents is Daf Yud. Daf Yud is 10 tents. Good. All right, where do we have the topic of that Malcha ben Drosai? We went at the din of Malcha ben Drosai, that things had to be cooked, at least until that point, not to be concerned about Shemi Yechata. So that was on, right, we had the bandit with his spoon roasting a carbon pesach over a fire of wicks that are all puzzle. So that spoon is a chaf, so it's on Daf Chaf. Terrific. Okay, where do we have the sugya of Haroda Pasbatanu, right? Rabibi Barabaya had that question about if someone put dough into a tanur and could he take it out before being chayav on bishul. Where was that? So that was on Daf. Right? We imagine that flaming dough on the door being thrown over Rishus Rabim. That's on Daf Daled. Terrific. Okay. Two more. for today, for our jumbo quiz on Shabbos. First jumbo quiz on Shabbos. All right, two more. So where do we have where do we learn that when you go to visit a chol on Shabbos, you should not say, you shouldn't daven for them? But you do say Shabbos imilizok refuah krova levo. Where was that? Okay, so that we imagine, remember there was a bed with the linen, it said Shabbos imilizok refuah krova levo woven into the bed. That was actually made of an egg carton that the lice had been crawling onto. So that egg carton is a dozen eggs, so that's Daf Yud Beis, right? Pretty straightforward. Okay, one more. Where do we have the topic of, remember we went through the three cases where Shammai and Hillel argue. Rav Huna said there were three cases. One was in terms of the minimum amount of dough that you'd be chayav to take challah from. Another one is in terms of the amount of mayim she'uvim, also when a woman, how far back in terms of when it becomes a nida, meis le'ez, pikita, lakita. So where was that whole sugya? That was, I remember, we have a piece of challah with a banana sticking through the banana sticking through the challah, floating on water that had been, the dough had been kneaded. So we had the three cases. So that was the banana daf. So banana's fruit, and of course when you think of fruit, what holiday deals with fruit, or trees, or fruit trees, is Tezvav, Tu B'Shvat. Great, okay, so just a chance to practice Simanim. Best thing is to have people, test you. The more you do it, the more you see how effective they are, and just keep up with the Chazorah. You want to get them down like the ABCs, because once you get them down like the ABCs, you're really not adding that much time. And I haven't done the math recently, but let's see, if we went through Maseches Brachas in 16 minutes with Simanim at the pace of 4 daf a minute, so at 154, so that's basically 2.5 times. So it'll take us probably to go through the entire Masechta about, about 38 minutes or so. 38 minutes to go through the entire Masechta Shabbos Simanim. Once we get them all down, well. So keep up with the Chazor, keep them up, keep practicing, and Mirz Hashem, we'll pick up next week with more dafing, more Simanim, and more Chazor. All the best.